Whether you love him or hate him, Ty Gibbs is now officially a NASCAR Cup Series winner. Hello everybody, my name is Brody. The NASCAR Cup Series wraps up at Bristol Motor Speedway, the last great Coliseum, and we were treated to an amazing finish this race. We had two Cup Series champions trying to track down a guy that's never even won a Cup Series race before for the win in overtime. It was crazy, it was insane, and I'm so excited to break down the actual lead up to that event and then the actual overtime restart, which led to a first-time winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. So we'll spend a majority of this race review and reaction covering the final 20-ish laps, which led to the eventual new winner. And then we'll cover my drivers of the day, followed by the what the F driver of the race, the race results, and my final verdict and opinions of this Bristol Motor Speedway race. So let's dive into what exactly happened and led to a first-time winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's set the stage to cover this final portion of the race. 23 laps to go in the final stage of this race. Last week's winner at Martinsville, Chase Elliott, spins out lazy spin all by himself. Really sums up his day in Hendrick Motorsports outside of Kyle Larson. Anyways, this leads us to crew chiefs, drivers having a decision to make whether to pit, stay out, or take two tires. So we see a split sequence. Now take a look at this image to get a full scope of the restart we are about to cover. On the top row is Ty Gibbs, who has been competitive all race long, running inside the top five. To his inside is Chase Briscoe. In the outside lane is Carson Hocevar, followed by Denny Hamlin, and to his outside is Tyler Reddick. All of these drivers elected to not come down pit lane, so they are on old tires. Just behind those drivers is Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. Kyle Larson came down pit road and took just two tires. Ryan Blaney is the first car on 4 fresh Goodyear tires for this restart. We get going green, and Larson, Blaney jump out to aggressive paces early, making moves, cutting up the field, getting around Hocevar, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe. They get to Tyler Reddick. It takes them a few laps to work around Reddick, and then eventually it's between Larson and Blaney. Whoever can pass each other and clear each other for second place can have a few laps to run down Ty Gibbs. Eventually, after a few bumps and scrapes, it's Ryan Blaney. Blaney is tracking down Gibbs, but then he makes a mistake with 4 laps to go, 4 or 5 laps to go. It's 3 laps to go now. Ty Gibbs looks like he's going to drive off into the sunset, get his first career Cup Series victory until Kyle Busch decides to retaliate against Riley Herbst with 3 laps to go, spins out Riley Herbst. Caution comes out, of course, because you can't have a car sitting in the middle of the racetrack. So we got a caution for Kyle Busch trying to settle a score with a guy. They're racing for like 25th place, laps down, out of the picture. Kyle Busch chooses this exact moment with 3 laps to go with a guy who's on his route to win his first career Cup Series race. He chooses to retaliate in that moment. Kyle Busch, what are we doing? I mean, Kyle Busch was spun out by Herbst earlier in the race, but you could retaliate at Kansas. You can retaliate elsewhere, not with 3 laps to go in the race. Anyways, we get a caution, which allows Gibbs to start first, of course, but Blaney is now to his inside with 4 fresh tires. Ty Gibbs is on the outside lane with old worn tires, and we get back green. Ty Gibbs does a great job getting a good launch as he can on those old tires. Blaney does a good job getting a good start on the inside when the top lane's been dominant of a restart lane the entire weekend. Whether it's trucks, O'Reilly, or the Cup Series, that top lane was supreme and dominant the entire races and every single restart. Gibbs jumps out. They are side by side for the entire 2 laps of overtime, and Ty Gibbs ends up outlasting Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, 2 Cup Series champions who dominated this race. Ty Gibbs emerges victorious over both of them with a photo finish at the line to just top it all off. What a sequence. What a finish to this race. Congratulations to Ty Gibbs getting his first career Cup Series win at Bristol Motor Speedway of all tracks, and doing it by beating two Cup Series champions, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. This is a little reminiscent of Ryan Blaney's first career win, where he had to pass Kyle Busch and then hold off Kevin Harvick, two Cup Series champions, to get his first career win. Roles reversed. Funny enough, funny how story works. Ty Gibbs does it to Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, and Ty Gibbs gets the victory in the 54 car. What a win. It was electric. It was great racing at the very end. Very respectable, great racing, great finish we saw. I mean, I think Ty Gibbs would have won the race even if Kyle Busch decided not to retaliate in that instance. I think Gibbs would have still won anyways, but that caution really let Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson have a more serious chance. I think Ty Gibbs didn't get lucky. He was competitive all race long. He was inside the top five. The crew chief took a gamble, stayed out on old tires, and there were enough guys that stayed out on old tires, and even Larson took two tires, so put himself at a bit of a disadvantage. Big enough gap, big enough discrepancy in the field for Ryan Blaney not to be able to overcome that amount of cars between them. Blaney did not get the job done, unfortunately, for that 12 bunch. And Larson in the 5 bunch, who both dominated this race, led over 400 laps combined between the two. Ty Gibbs emerges victorious, sealing the deal, getting his first career Cup Series win at Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, that entire 54 bunch. They deserve it. They have earned it. It's been many seasons trying to get that car in victory lane. It has finally happened at Bristol Motor Speedway. So congratulations once again to the entire 54 team. With that, let's jump into my drivers of the day, starting with Ryan Blaney. Rightfully so. He started out on pole, was the best car the entire race length. He had an incredible day as an individual driver. His team, however, his pit crew specifically, was horrible. Horrible again. Guys, this is an outrageous stat. A team Penske car has the 35th ranked pit crew. There are only 36 full-time entries. And what makes it even worse is after I tallied up every single lost position on pit lane, Blaney has now lost 89 combined spots on pit lane in 8 races. That is 11 spots per race lost on pit road. Today was no different. Blaney lost 5 and 4 and 2 and 1 on his pit stops. It was horrible. Blaney has to battle back each and every time, coming back from 6th place, from 4th place, challenging Kyle Larson throughout stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 3 was finally when Blaney was able to pass Larson and just drive away, show how good that car was. That was the only instance where we saw him in clean air, weaving through traffic, doing what he does best. He was dreading having to come down pit road. We have to go down pit road, give up the lead because my pit crew can't function, averaging like 10 to 12 second pit stops, or even worse, having a loose wheel. Look at Phoenix. Blaney is on another level right now. Absolutely carrying that 12 team. They have to get it figured out. I don't know if it's to make substitutions, changes, or what. Have overnighters, pull overtime, pull doubles, get this pit crew better for Blaney, because if they can get to a 15th ranked pit crew, imagine what Blaney can do. Imagine, just have an average pit crew. He needs to come down pit lane and just maintain his position. That's all that pit crew needs to do. Right now, they can't even make it to where Blaney only loses 2 spots on average. He loses 11 spots per race. Absolutely unacceptable. Blaney starts on pole, leads 190 laps on the day. If Blaney had a functional pit crew, I think Blaney would have led 350 laps, 400 laps. Larson would have not led as many laps as he did because Blaney had to keep coming back, spending 50 laps just getting back to Larson, and then having to pass Larson on top of that is just hard in itself on a Bristol Motor Speedway that is hard to pass. Insane, absolutely insane. So Ryan Blaney definitely deserves a driver of the day. Has an amazing race overall. Probably should have won the race, but late race cautions, you can't control that anyways. I think the pit call to take 4 was the wrong call. take a look at Todd Gilliland. He actually stayed out on 2 tires earlier in the sequence in stage 3, and he maintained his position in the top 5 the entire race. He finished 6th. So that shows you that tires really didn't matter all that much. Anyways, despite that, Blaney is still second in the points, only 62 points behind Tyler Reddick now. He's coming for that regular season championship. Definitely. He's been very consistent, even though his pit crew has been horrible. So Ryan Blaney is a driver of the day. Well done for Blaney. Pit crew, get it figured out. Get it figured out for all us fans who want to see Blaney succeed and not be hindered like this. It is entertaining, though. It is very entertaining to see Blaney actually come back, get sent to the back, come all the way back up. It is very entertaining. But anyways, Ryan Blaney, driver of the day, easily. Picking up where I left off, next is Kyle Larson, who was the other dominant driver of the day. He led 284 laps on the day, started 8th, worked his way forward. He was the best Chevy all race long. Look at his teammates. His teammates, the entire Hendrick Motorsports camp was horrible today. Horrible. Bowman finished last. Byron was laps down, running 34th with no damage to his car. Chase Elliott spins out, eventually leads to Larson and Blaney losing the race. It was not good for Hendrick Motorsports, but Larson was the lone bright spot. But unfortunately for Larson, he leads over 450 laps combined between the O'Reilly race and the Cup Series race, and he has 0 wins to show for it. Gut-wrenching, absolutely gut-wrenching for Larson. I think a win is coming soon for this bunch. It's been a crazy streak. He hasn't won in the Cup Series. Pretty insane for a 2-time Cup Series champion in Kyle Larson. But anyways, I have to give him a driver of the day because him and Blaney were absolutely dominant today, and I'm still so surprised neither of them found victory lane just due to circumstances and pit strategy and chaos at the end. But Larson definitely deserves the driver of the day. Next is Tyler Reddick, who finishes 4th, a top 5 spot. That alone should get him a driver of the day because that 2311 Racing short track program, specifically Tyler Reddick in the 45 car, has not been great. It's been mid, to say the least. Very, very mid for a top team in the NASCAR Cup Series. He did start 2nd. That is great to see a better qualifying position for Reddick, but that was short-lived because he ended up speeding on pit road early in the race, and he spent the entire race length trying to battle back his way into the starting position that he got. He makes it up to 4th, pretty good. At one point in the original caution after Chase Elliott spun, before the overtime start, Tyler Reddick was battling for the lead. I was like, he's going to do it again. Tyler Reddick is going to nab this win. It didn't really work out. But anyways, Tyler Reddick, great performance on a short track, really improving his prowess on the short tracks and that 45 bunch. So very happy to see that. And Reddick is a driver of the day for sure. I hinted at this driver earlier, and I have to give the last driver of the day to Todd Gilliland in the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports. Well done, Todd Gilliland, and that entire 34 bunch. The lone bright spot for Front Row Motorsports in a while. Zane Smith has been doing okay, the best car, no doubt, for Front Row Motorsports, but there has been an exceptional finish for Front Row in quite some time. So happy to see this for Todd Gilliland and that entire team. They got this by... So they started 35th, but worked their way forward around the top 20-ish, took a gamble, stayed out on 2 tires, held his track position, was inside the top 5, and maintains that position throughout the entire Stage 3 and the late race chaos we saw. He finishes 6th, so well done for Todd Gilliland. Very, very happy to see that. Now it's time for the What the F driver of the race, and it really only can be one driver, and that's Alex Bowman. Yes, Bowman is back, making his first Cup Series start since being out with vertigo for many, many weeks. He's back in the Cup Series car, and what does he get? He doesn't even make it halfway in this race. He ends up with a DNF, finishing 37th, dead last. What a welcome back for Alex Bowman. Just horrible luck. Not even his doing. SVG just loses it in the middle of the turn, slides up. Bowman falls right in his lap, KOs the car. Done. Nada. Nothing else can happen. So unfortunate for him. I feel so bad for that 48 bunch and Alex Bowman specifically. He needs a good year. He needs a good showing. This is His contract is coming up. Hendrick Motorsports has to make a decision, and things like this just don't help Bowman out in any way. I really do like the guy. I think he has a big heart. He's a very good overall person. He's a great race car driver as well. He just needs some luck on his side and needs to get back in the seat to get his form back, his overall greatness back. It's bad to see. I couldn't believe it. I was like, did that just happen? Poor guy. Anyways, so Bowman gets the what the F driver of the race. I really hope he can bounce back because he desperately needs to. So Bowman is the what the F driver of the race. Now it's time to look at your race results. Here is your top 10 for Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's begin with Chase Briscoe in the 19. Started third, ran a very competitive and good race. Never had the race winning speed at any point during the race. Tried to gamble late in the race on those restarts, but never really worked out. Still a top 5 finish. Very well done. In 7th place is Joey Logano. Behind him is Ryan Preece, 2 Fords, who honestly surprising race results. Logano started 20th, not a great car, struggled early in stage 1, found his form, found his footing, ends up rallying, was in the top 10 late in the race consistently, gets a 7th place finish. And Ryan Preece, who started 17th, just worked his way slowly but surely, a couple spots here and there, every single restart, every single end of the stage, finds himself in 8th place, getting a top 10 as well. Rounding out the top 10 is Denny Hamlin and Carson Hocevar. Denny Hamlin, at one point, I thought he had a top 3 car. He was up there with Larson, Blaney, Hamlin in the top 3, racing for a podium position, and then just lost the handling, I suppose. Just really kind of went away from him. Also tried to gamble on that last sequence of restarts. Didn't really work out for him on those old tires. Finishes 9th, scrapes a top 10 together. And Carson Hocevar started 10th, finishes 10th. Kind of a Carson Hocevar day. Honestly, I think he expected more from himself, especially at Bristol, but top 10 for that Spire Motorsports group, I think it's a solid finish. A couple guys here with eventful days. Brad Keselowski in 14th, who was spun out early in the race. Ricky Stenhouse just didn't care, drove through him, spins out Brad Keselowski, rallies back to get a top 15 finish, so well done for Brad. And AJ Allmendinger, who had a throttle brake heating issue. He said his feet were on fire, needed ice on his feet after the race because I'm assuming he was getting blisters on his feet because of how hot the pedals were. That's a scary instance, so glad AJ finished the race and gets a top 15 finish as well. Despite being spun out late in the race, Riley Herbst still finishes 21st, ahead of the guy that spun him out, Kyle Busch. Again, that was just an egregious incident. I can't believe that happened. So Riley Herbst, he actually started 4th in this race. That's why I want to highlight him briefly. Well done getting a great starting spot. Needs to work on the longevity of the completing an entire race, trying to get some top 15 string together. 21st place, not horrible considering he got spun out late in the race. So Riley Herbst 21st. Chase Elliott 22nd, who brought out the earlier caution with 23 laps to go, finishes 22nd. Just a horrible day for Chase Elliott and the rest of the Hendrick Motorsports camp that wasn't Kyle Larson. Just behind Chase Elliott is Eric Jones, who was an unfortunate victim in the Riley Herbst, Kyle Busch early saga during the first initial spin where Herbst spun out Kyle Busch. Kyle's in the middle of the straightaway. Jones has nowhere to go, runs in a bush. Really unfortunate. Unlucky for Eric Jones. Kyle Busch finishes 25th. Do I need to say more? RCR, Busch, just bad. Just bad. In 26 is Noah Gragson, who was up there battling inside the top 15. Happy to see it. Just couldn't keep the pace up in the car. Ends up 26. And just behind him is Christopher Bell, who I think had a top 5 car, maybe top 3 car, was up there, was setting some of the fastest laps early in stage 1 until he eventually speeds on pit lane. He puts himself back in the pack on the restart, and then when you're back in the pack, you're trying to work your way up as fast as possible. He ends up slapping the wall hard, cutting down a tire, breaks something in the car, probably a toe link, and he was laps down the remainder of the race. So very unfortunate for Christopher Bell, who had a very fast car early in the race. Other notables, Josh Berry, Connor Zilic, and SVG all finished 32nd, 33rd, and 34th. Horrible day for Trackhouse Racing. Didn't even get a car inside the top 15. Ross Chastain finishes 20th. Zilic spins out. SVG spins out. Not great. Not great at all. We need to regroup over there at Trackhouse Racing. And Josh Berry was competitive for brief stints, but ended up getting put in the wall late in the race, so ends up finishing outside the top 30. For my overall thoughts and opinions of this NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway, I think it was an average race, maybe a tick below average. I'd say, no, let's call it average. Average race at Bristol Motor Speedway until the very end, which kind of spiced it up a little bit, but I'm still going to mark it as average because a race finish doesn't equate for the entire sequence, the entire race. So, average race at Bristol Motor Speedway. I thought the route NASCAR took to put traction compound on the bottom lane. I hinted at this in my O'Reilly Auto Parts race review and my Truck Series race review, how the PJ1 traction compound on the bottom lane changed the initial stage one to where it was a freight train on the bottom for many laps. And then once lap traffic hit, the leader had to go up and search for ways around this lap cars, which ended up expanding the groove, opening up the racetrack to use the high lane, the most dominant lane at Bristol Motor Speedway. Traditionally, in the later years, we've seen it. So I think overall it was good. I like the variability. I don't dislike seeing one groove racetracks. I mean, Martinsville's a one groove racetrack and it puts on great racing. So I don't dislike that, but I do like seeing the variety of drivers being able to find lanes, find speed, work with what the car gives them. Is it a fast car on the bottom? Can it wrap the bottom well? Can it sling on the top lane very well, get the momentum off the straight? I like that. I do like seeing that. I like seeing the drivers wheel these things around, and they were wheeling them around for sure in this race because of the new short track package. More horsepower, less downforce. It was more of a handful today. We saw a lot of lazy spins from Chase Elliott and SVG, seasoned veterans, guys that know what they're doing, spinning out by themselves. So you know the car was a handful. Large portions of this race were absolutely dominated by Larson, by Blaney. So at some points in the race, it definitely did drag on a bit, but it was entertaining to see Blaney come through the field, eventually track down and pass Larson. Once Blaney passed Larson, it was kind of like, okay, Blaney's probably going to win. And then we got that shakeup at the end. So a bit of a uptick with the finish for sure, but most of the race was average to sum up my opinions and thoughts of this race. So I definitely did enjoy it. Love me some Bristol Motor Speedway racing action. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What did you think of this Bristol Motor Speedway race? What do you think of the video? Please let me know. Leave a like and please subscribe if you are new. I hope to see you in future videos and come back. So subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I do race reviews for the Cup Series, for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, for the Truck Series. I'm here every weekend breaking it down, giving my raw opinions, raw reaction. I have no filters around here. I tell it as it is. So I hope you guys do enjoy my commentary and my race reviews. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the future for more videos. And as always, guys, have a great, wonderful, and even splendid rest of your day. See ya.